The Yaqui Valley is one of the largest agricultural areas in Mexico, annually producing 1.5 million tons of fruits and vegetables that are largely exported to the United States and Canada. At the center of the Yaqui Valley is the Institute of Technology of Sonora, known as ITSON. Mercedes Meza is a chemist at ITSON who had long been concerned about the use of pesticides in the region.
Pues hace aproximadamente 11 años, el ITSON ha estado trabajando o investigando plaguicidas en el Valle del Yaqui y sus alrededores.
Farmers in the valley told Mercedes Meza that their fields are treated with pesticides 30 to 40 times during the farming season.
Muchas de estas familias nos decían que en muchas ocasiones pues ellos eran rociados o llegaban hasta sus casas estos fumigantes y cómo les provocaban dolores de cabeza, diarreas, etcétera, ¿no?
80 kilometers away, in the foothills of the Sierra Madres, is the town of Tezcapaco. Although the children in Tezcapaco eat much of the same food as the valley youngsters, the foothills town has no large industry and no spraying of pesticides. And unlike the valley parents, people in the foothills say they rarely use household pesticides.
Con respecto a exposición, esa fue la diferencia, ¿no? Que en un lugar había mucha exposición a plaguicidas y en otro no.
Elizabeth Gillette was conducting an anthropological study of the effect that toxicants might be having on people in the developing world. With the assistance of the scientists at ITSON, Gillette went knocking on doors in the valley towns. She was looking for 4- and 5-year-old children whose families had lived in the valley for at least 3 generations. Her research began by playing catch with the children. Then she had them drop raisins into a bottle cap. Gillette soon noticed something disturbing. The valley children showed deficits in these simple tests of hand-eye coordination.
Now those two things are tests pediatricians use to measure development, and 3-year-olds should have been able to accomplish these tests.
Gillette had suspected there might be small differences in the children. Yet in every case, the memory and neuromuscular abilities of the foothills children were dramatically superior to the valley youngsters. But one finding stood out above all others. The ability to draw people is a milestone commonly used by pediatricians to measure a child's development, combining as it does perceptual and motor abilities.
Ah, very good picture.
And when Gillette asked the Mexican children to draw a picture of a person, the difference was shocking.
My control group and my research group would be identical except for exposure.
Well, this, I think, is a pioneering study because of its simplicity. You have genetic similarity in the two groups. You have similar food that they eat, and the culture is the same. Well, this is about as close as you can get to a controlled experiment in a laboratory.
Elizabeth Gillette believed that North American children are exposed in similar ways to those in the Yaqui Valley. There, children encounter residues on the food they eat, crop spraying, and household exposure, because valley residents use insecticides in their homes.
During winter time, they use it every 2 weeks, inside and outside.
In North American cities, Gillette saw similar patterns: exposure from food residues, home and garden products, and pesticides sprayed on a large scale for disease and insect control.
It's a matter of degree. Yes, these kids were probably more heavily exposed than my children are, or your children might be. But nevertheless, it takes those high exposures for us to understand what these things do to kids. That doesn't mean that the lesser exposures have no effects.